Let me tell you about someone I know. Not a couple you can compare salaries with. Just someone you might recognize yourself in. He's in his late 30s, married, 2 kids. Both parents work. Every morning starts the same way. Alarm goes off early, not because they want to wake up early, but because they have to. There's a quiet rush in the house. Coffee brewing. Lunch is being packed. Kids half awake at the table. No one's angry. No one's lazy. Everyone is trying. By 8 a.m., the house is empty. 2 cars leave the driveway. 2 separate commutes. 2 separate jobs. And here's the strange part. On paper, they're doing well. Better than most people, actually. If you look at their tax return, you'd probably think, they're fine. They're ahead. But if you look at how they feel, they're tired. They're tense. And they're always one surprise away from stress. When the washing machine broke last year, it wasn't an inconvenience. It was a problem, not a crisis, but close enough to feel uncomfortable. And that's what made him pause. Because he couldn't understand something. They worked more than their parents ever did. They earned more than their parents ever did. So why did it feel harder? That question is what this video is about. My name is Stan. And I spend a lot of time thinking about why households with 2 full-time incomes often feel less secure than households with 1 income did decades ago. If you're working hard alongside a partner and still feel like you're barely keeping your head above water, this might explain why. Here's the belief most of us grew up with. 2 incomes equal security. If 1 income can support a family, then 2 incomes should make life easier. More savings, more margin, more breathing room. That sounds logical, but something strange happened when 2 incomes became normal. Life didn't get easier. It got tighter. Not because people became irresponsible, not because they forgot how to budget, but because the entire system quietly adjusted, and almost nobody noticed while it was happening. Let's go back for a moment, not to nostalgia, just to context. A few decades ago, most families lived on 1 primary income. That income covered the basics, not luxury, but stability. Housing didn't demand perfection. Schools weren't gated behind massive mortgages. Childcare wasn't a second rent payment. And there was something else that mattered even more. Margin. If something went wrong, there was an option. 1 parent could step into the workforce if needed. That second income wasn't baked into survival. It was a backup. Now, fast forward to today. That backup is gone. Not because families wasted it, but because they had to use it just to enter the middle class. Here's what quietly changed. When more households had 2 incomes, prices adjusted to match. Homes weren't priced for 1 income anymore. They were priced for 2. School districts became competitive. Childcare became mandatory. Healthcare became non-negotiable. And slowly, the second income stopped being extra. It became required. That's the trap. Not that 2 incomes are bad, but that both incomes get consumed before they ever touch your hands. Let's slow this down and make it real. Imagine 1 income could cover your mortgage, food, insurance, and basics. Now imagine adding a second income. You don't suddenly save all of it. Some goes to taxes. Some goes to commuting. Some goes to childcare. Some goes to convenience because 2 exhausted adults don't live the same way 1 working adult and 1 managing the home does. You're not spending more because you're careless. You're spending more because time disappeared. Cooking becomes harder. Errands get outsourced. Problems get solved with money instead of time. The second income doesn't just add dollars. It removes capacity. And capacity has value. This is why so many 2-income households feel fragile. Not poor. Fragile. Everything works. As long as everything keeps working. As long as both jobs stay intact. As long as health stays stable. As long as life doesn't interrupt. But life always interrupts. And when it does, there's no buffer left, because the buffer was already spent. Here's the part people don't like to hear. Most households don't budget based on what they need. They budget based on what they qualify for. The bank says, you can afford this house, so you buy it. The dealer says, you can afford the payment, so you take it. And technically, they're right, as long as both incomes continue forever. That's not planning. That's assuming. And assumptions are expensive. The real issue isn't income, it's flexibility. Older households had it. Modern households traded it. They traded it for bigger houses, nicer cars, and the appearance of progress. But appearance isn't resilience. Resilience is being able to absorb a hit, and most two-income households can't. Not because they're weak, because they're stretched. Now here's the part that actually matters. This isn't about quitting jobs. It's not about one partner staying home. It's about how you build your life. Most families build their fixed expenses on two incomes. That's the mistake. The alternative is simple but uncomfortable. You build your fixed life on one income. Housing, cars, non-negotiables. The second income becomes optional, not spent, not promised, not required. Saved. That one decision changes everything because suddenly you're not trapped. You have room. It doesn't feel impressive at first. You drive past houses you could afford but don't buy. You live smaller than your income suggests. You look behind even though you're ahead. But over time, something changes. Savings grow. Stress shrinks. Options appear. And one day you realize something important. You're not working just to survive anymore. You're working by choice. That's real wealth. I want to leave you with this. The goal isn't to earn more. The goal is to need less from your income. Two incomes don't fail because people are bad with money. They fail when both incomes are required just to stand still. If both paychecks are already spoken for, you don't have two incomes. You have zero margin. And margin is what protects you when life shows up uninvited. Now you see the trap. The only question left is whether you'll build your life to escape it. If this helped you think differently about money, consider subscribing. Not for hype, not for shortcuts, just for clearer thinking about how money actually works.